we stand on sacred ground and keep you bumping to these native sounds. From the land of the kangaroo, gonna show you how we ride. We've been a singing and a dancing since the dawn of time. So jump up on this ride while we fly like a spear, like the waters in the Great Barrier Reef. We keep it clear. We mixing and a molding this classy gazi rock. We modern combo gunner is doing deadly here. Don't stop me when I'm coming like the snowy when it's flowing. Showing poetry in motion like a boomerang flying. All them territories and states be getting the taste. This modern day corroboree will hit your ear like a earthquake.
Solid rock, standing on sacred ground, living on borrowed time, and the winds of change, they're blowing down the line.
Rock the Southern Cross with black, red and yellow flowing through my veins. A big red root, yeah, I'm the man. Thousands have died just to make me a warrior leader, trendsetter monster with an IQ only rival by a few. A dreamer, a hustler, a schemer who likes to stay true. Forget everything in you, street warriors, we the truth. Listen to what we say, you won't wanna leave. You see now, this is a new day.
Solid rock, standing on sacred ground, living on borrowed time, and the winds of change, they're blowing down the
It
line.
started as only a few, but then it grew. A belonging to this place, a connection to the land. We welcome and share with the races. This is what Australia's about, yeah. This is where we stand. To respect laws, the ancient ones before us pass them on. The land of the dreaming. We now bring by song. We bring unity for all future generations. This is for everyone, for you, and all your relations.
Solid rock, standing on sacred ground, living on borrowed time, and the winds of change, they're blowing down the line. Solid rock, standing on sacred ground, living on borrowed time, and the winds of change, they're blowing down the line. Blowing down the line.
Thank you. Before I go, I'll just introduce myself. My name's John Kelly, and this is my baby sister's son, Marinor Gillen. He's Ray Kelly's grandson. So thanks for inviting us, James, and Pathways, and thank you.
To me now?
No,
you're right. Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much. Thank you to the dancers and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to Celebration of Pathways. My name's Grant Sarah. I come from what is by skin blood Bunda, salt water, up around Bundaberg area, through my mother's ancestry and through my father's ancestry. I'm also proud of my ancestry in that regard too. He came from the province of Abruzzo, in the small province of Chieti, in a small village called Moglianico in Italia. So to me, come from two ancient peoples, but very similar peoples in terms of kinship and culture and pride. While I'm here today, all I'm going to do is just MC. So that's a really easy job, just call people up and allow people to go and sit down. What I want you to do is just relax. People will come up and do an individual presentation. I'm particularly keen to listen to the stories, the real stories that people are going to present today. And that's really positive, because when I look at the plight of Aboriginal Australia, statistically there's not a lot of good images that are out there. I've spent 33 years working in Aboriginal affairs, and we now reach 2013. We make up a population of a little over 2.7%. The sad reality is when we look around the country, you'll see that in adult prisons, 30 to 40% Aboriginal adult prisoners. Juvenile detention, same. There's a prison in Broome, which is on Yaru country, 98% Aboriginal people in jail, and yet we're 2.7% of a population. In 2012, some $25 billion was spent on Aboriginal affairs, but they say the gap's getting wider in a whole range of different areas, including youth suicide and so forth. So to me, what this particular celebration represents is a change. It's changing the imagery and the picture of who we are as black people. By skin, by blood, we come from thousands of generations, and we've got to a point now where we need to start thinking about what we need to do in terms of providing better opportunities for our children. By skin, by blood, thousands of generations, here we are now. Where do we want to be in 100 years from now as black people in this country is up to us. So I humbly acknowledge my presence on the land of the Dungeti people. I acknowledge the elders past and present. By law and by custom, this is not my place to speak of your business, and I sincerely won't be doing that at all. I will give you my absolute respect. I pay my respects to the elders that are here in the room today. I also acknowledge the young children in the room as well, because that's part of our future. While I'm here today on Dungeti country, I'm just a little boy in your presence, and that's part of an ancient respect for our elders and the law of our people. As a Bunda boy or man, I do not have the right to speak for you and your people, but I'm really pleased to be here, and I'll be respectful in your presence while I'm in your presence and on your land. So thank you very much. So in terms of the day, we're really just going to celebrate Pathways, a consortium of a small group of people who've come together with collective skills, knowledge in an industry, but also a passion for delivering some change and opportunity for other people, and that's something that you should be very proud of. For a small organisation of people to come together in, I think, 2011, Brad, and to receive a national award through Skills DMC in 2012 is a remarkable achievement, so you're obviously doing something very well. Wendy Arnold drove me around yesterday, and we looked at various parts of Kempsey, And yeah, there's a lot of things that historically have been there for a long time. Housing commission areas, and you've got low socioeconomic conditions, you've got probably high levels of unemployment. And with high levels of unemployment, you then get high levels of crime, drugs, and other things that happen. When those things occur, community safety is no good. Health and well-being is no good. Spirit is no good. And people need to be healed. What you're achieving today is going to go a long way to healing a future in this particular place. I said to Brad yesterday, when I travel around Australia, I don't look at the problems of a community, I look at the potential. And I can tell you from my observation of Kempsey, there is enormous potential. And it's something that you as a people should be proud of. I also acknowledge the presence of the Mayor, Liz, who's hiding down there behind, and he'll be up at some point speaking as well. Without further ado, as a young boy on this country, I need to call upon Uncle Bob Smith to do an official welcome to Dunghetty country. Uncle, as the speakers come up, including you, Uncle, you've got to stand about here, because the light and all that sort of stuff reflects better on our brown skin here, apparently.
Thanks very much, Grant. Barong marung, mayang gandanang. That's Dunghetty. Well, good morning. How are you all? Where we gather today, it's just a small section, or a small part of the greater Dunghetty nation. A very, very small part. Our country extends, our northern extreme is Yarrahapini Mountain to the north of here. It travels along the eastern boundary, which is our coastline, through places like Southwest Rocks, Hat Head, Crescent Head, all the way to Point Plummer. And all the way along that coastline, there are Dunghetty footprints. Footprints that represent our presence in the way of our middens, our bora grounds, our stone arrangements, our carved trees and burial sites, right along that coastline. Of course, at Point Plummer, we have the remnants of a rock fish trap. Our country then extends westward along the Wilson River through Telegraph Point, crosses the Great Divide to the small township of Walker. It then extends in a northeasterly direction along the top of the escarpment to a point just east of Wallamombi on the Grafton Armadale Road. It then extends further northeasterly to a point south of Ebor, and then back around behind Nambucca Heads, Barraville, and back to Yarrahapini. And with that particular mountain, we share that mountain with our neighbours to the north, the Gumbaynggirr people. So all that country in between is Dunghetty country. And dissecting our great country is our river, the Macleay River. And contributing to the health and well-being of that river, there are many tributaries, including the Apsley River, the Styx River, Georges Creek, 5 Day Creek, Nulla Creek, Hickey's Creek, and so on. They all contribute to the well-being of our river. And that river has maintained our people for tens of thousands of years. In recent times, there's been a small group of elders coming together basically to try and revitalise our language. Our language has never been lost. It has merely been suppressed and discouraged by government legislation, by church and so on. But a good number of our elders came together with the knowledge they had of their language and had it recorded. And as such, we now have a resource to assist our community to revitalise our knowledge of our language. Before I proceed into that welcome, I also want to acknowledge our Mayor, Liz Campbell, pay my respect to my elders, past and present, pay my respect to those elders in this room who may be from other nations, and also to acknowledge the presence of many of our non-Indigenous friends, who are friends not only of this community, but far and afield. Dango babang, nyamanyanda gwetan, titan bari. Yananambu Bitta, Yananambu Warawa Bukul. Pandundakai, Mulamango Dangari Guttan, Tittanbari. Ngaya Guttan, Tittanbari. Tittanbari Dango. Danang Maranga Dittana, Paria. And what I said there was my grandfathers and grandmothers belong to this country. Our river, our plains and hills, from the mountains to the coast, Dangari belongs to this country. I belong to this country. You all be well in this country. And whilst I am up here, I just want to say a few words and acknowledge from my observations the great work that the Pathways to the Pilbara mob have made to our community. Through my observations, I have seen changes not only for the young people who have been travelling over to the Pilbara and working, but also to their families. And I just looking at the agenda, no doubt you'll hear a lot of these stories. But Wendy and Brad and their crew, I believe they've done a great service for this community and the enthusiasm that they've brought to our people. As Grant mentioned earlier, job opportunities are far and few between in this community unless those jobs are generated through our Aboriginal organisations. But out there in the private sector, it's very, very difficult to secure a pathway to a career. I just wanted to pass on those few words to the crew at Pathways. They've done a great job and they'll continue to do a great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle Bob. We'll ad-lib as the morning goes on, but and I might even get some other people up here to talk depending on time availability, so nobody's safe even though you're sitting at the back. Another word of warning as you come up here and you present up here. For the gentlemen, just breathe in and hold that stomach in tight because I think it looks a little bit chubby on the screen. And ladies, just get the hair right. Just relax. When you speak from the heart, for those who are going to do presentations about your story, I always say to people, when you speak from the heart, you'll always be fluent. And that's an important thing. Speak from the heart and you'll always be fluent. 100 years from this day, you don't have to worry about it, but be deadly today. Wendy, I'll get you to come up and talk a little bit more about Pathways. Wendy Arnold?
Thank you, Grant, and thank you, everyone. Can I just ask anyone that's standing outside first if there's some seats up here if you'd like to come and sit down so you're not... It's only you? Alrighty, no worries. Thanks so much for coming. I've got a piece of paper because I tend to rave on a little bit, so it's going to keep me on track. I'm Wendy Arnold and I'm one of the directors of Pathways to the Pilbara, but everybody here knows me, I think. I'd like to acknowledge first, of course, the Dunghutti people and our elders that are here today, and those other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that have come here from other nations to be with us today. And we're coming together today for the futures of our young people, our children. I was born and schooled here in Dunghutti country. I went to Kempsey High School and I went to West Kempsey Primary School, eating catfish from the river and pippies from the beach. And I moved to WA prospecting for gold, and I came home about 5 years ago, knowing that the resource sector in Western Australia held opportunities for traditional owners from all over the country. Mining companies have a social responsibility to provide opportunities for Aboriginal people and adhere to their Indigenous engagement strategies. Pathways to the Pilbara became a broker between the mob and between the mining companies. While I was in WA, I met Grant Sarah, who's our MC today and has agreed to come down and do this. He travels all over the place, so it's only a hop, skip and a jump for him from up north. Grant was actually working with the resource sector, and his job when I met him was to bring the mining executives and mining companies together with the Aboriginal communities to work on regional development plans and to work out how people can be trained so that they can fit the jobs that the resource sector had. So I thought it was an opportune time to introduce Grant to Pathways and to Kempsey. And I feel very proud that he's here and facilitating this today. Grant, 6 or 7 years later. Thank you. And I'd also like to acknowledge our beautiful Mayor, Lizzie Campbell, who I've known way before she was a Mayor, and the great work that she's done for Kempsey. Kempsey is coming ahead in leaps and bounds. You know, the doom and gloom with the bypass, I don't think there's any. I think it's really starting to look flash and things are moving along really, really well. It really is a time to celebrate. Pathways to the Pilbara, as Grant said, has been running now for nearly 2 years, and its growth is due to many people. We've had some great stakeholders, a really passionate team involved, and people that that have helped propel us to the success that we enjoy today. And some are here today, some aren't here today. It's great to have those people that are here today. So just a quick introduction to some of those people. Dominic Hawke, who's my co-director down the back there. Dominic is a well-travelled businessman, and he's got a really good knowledge of training requirements for the industry and for the sector. Dominic's got a get things done attitude and is always lurking on the internet and pouncing on new opportunities for Pathways. Lurking's a Dungutty word too. Brad Carbett, who's our manager, he's a Pinjarra man from WA. He's also my man, and he's got many years of fly-in, fly-out experience into remote locations, and he's brought that with him to this company. Brad earned the nickname Mum from the first lot of recruits that came through in the early days because he did go way and above, beyond expectations of making sure that everyone was okay and that everything was working. Jan Shepherd, who's our office coordinator, round the corner, and I think the majority of the people that talk to Pathways to the Pilbara know Jan. Jan has got one of the best work ethics that I've ever seen, and initiative, and she's an over-enthusiastic manly supporter. Jan connects with every recruit that walks in the room. Christina Cartwright, who came on board with a really great knowledge of job services and how the Job Services Australia industry works. Christina's got a great knack for retrieving and storing data, and her partner is a fly-in, fly-out worker. And one of the great things with Christiana is that she just gets things done in an instant, and she can relate a lot of fly-in, fly-out issues with our recruits as they're coming on board. James Dunn, who's our recruitment officer. James we base in Perth from time to time when the action's on, so he stays connected. And James started with us as one of our Fab Fives at the beginning, so he's got fly-in, fly-out experience, and he also has a really good knowledge of a lot of the sites in the Pilbara and a lot of the requirements. We also have Jayani Roberts, who is our beautiful receptionist, and we've stole Jayani from Boorigin while she's on maternity leave. And Jayani has been a young woman with some great potential, and it's lovely to see that potential grow. I'd also like to acknowledge Renee Hawkins, our local employment coordinator, who has been working with Pathways since before it started. She was a believer from the beginning, and she's been the fuel on the fire of many ideas in this region, not just ours, but a lot, up and down the region. Renee thinks outside the square as a lek, and I don't think she ever sleeps. Renee has been the conduit for so many projects. She quietly advises, she creates relationships, and she always suggests ways to add value to projects. And one of Renee's things that she always does is she always asks, why not? Even with the dumbest ideas. And of course she has Mark Armand who's from the Department of Education, Employment, Workplace Relations as well, who's been a fabulous support of Pathways to the Pilbara. Along with Liz Bates, Ron Powell, Colin Bissett from the DWA team, who took the risk and they supported our IEP, our Indigenous Employment Program. And if it hadn't been done successfully before, there were lots of reasons why fly in from and fly out from the eastern states to the west were frowned upon, but they could see the potholes, we could all see the potholes, but we took it on. They went for our passion and our enthusiasm and helped to get us over the line. To date, we've found over 150 jobs. That includes the people we've put back into work when their contracts are finished. So not all of them are claimable under IEP, but that doesn't worry us. We maintain our ethic to keep people working. I'd also like to acknowledge Verdo and ACES. I know ACES is no longer with us, but in the beginning, if we didn't have the support of those two JSAs in the early days, they had the vision to help people fulfil their dreams, and they overrode the safe response that you often get that new ideas encounter. Now, these two JSAs enabled us to be able to afford the expensive training, the industry-specific training that the IEP budget at the time could not afford. We have commercial agreements with participating JSAs. These two have stood out to be a really positive influence. It's seen lots of people successfully complete that required training, and those guys are now earning over $100,000 a year. Now, because of that initial training, they're qualified doggers, riggers, scaffolders and operators, and just moving forward with their careers. So thank you. And of course, one of the reasons why we're here today is a big thank you to Rob Oakeshott. Rob Oakeshott, I believe, has always had his feet on the ground and he's had his heart in our region. He saw the money that the resources sector brought into communities, and he took the opportunity to promote Pathways to the Pilbara as a vehicle for Aboriginal people in this region to get into the fly-in, fly-out jobs. The region now has a piece of the action, and Rob and the Ivatech expansion and enhancement project that Pathways to the Pilbara has been awarded will create more job opportunities. The training that we deliver is industry specific, and it happens when there's a requirement on the horizon. The Ivatech funding has enabled us to enlarge our team and employ some of those people I've just introduced. They carry the load, and part of our job now is to go out and create relationships with traditional owners on country where the mining activity is taking place, to introduce our people into their country. There's been a lot of unique practices that have been established through experience, and all of these practices will be formalised and used to create more jobs for our mob in the east. And these practices have been learned through default by Pathways in the Pilbara. There's some of the potholes and there's some of the elevators that we've experienced as we've gone along. The majority of our crews are from the three rivers, the three valleys, but our headquarters will stay in Kempsey, and we've been quite adamant about staying here. We've been able to purchase much needed IT equipment through the Ivatech funding and the generosity of Rob Oakeshott believing in us and putting his money on us to achieve. So thank you very much to Rob Oakeshott and the office and those supporters. Sorry guys. Part of that funding was to also include training for our people, for our staff, so that it can give them some additional skills and knowledge. We brought a Perth company over to do VEQ training or Q test training, which it's a non-verbal training assessment project for people entering the resource sector. So what has happened now is we've had some of our staff that have qualified, and they are now international Q test assessors. So they can assess a person through a non-verbal practice to see what their trainability is. So we're not putting someone into a position where they may excel in another position. So we may not have someone on a roller, for instance, who has the skills and knowledge to enter into an apprenticeship as an engineer. So I'd just like to ask those people please to come and receive their certificates from VEQ as now qualified Q-test assessors. And the first one is Jan Shepherd. Sorry, Jan. Oh, just to hear. Thank you, Jan. Congratulations. Well done, Q-test assessor. And James Dunn. Go, James. Hey. Did you hear what he said? He said shame. Thanks, James. And Brad Carvett. Hey.
Not in front of everyone. Thanks, Darla.
Thank you. I'd also like to just make a special mention to an amazing woman who I've had the opportunity to work with over the years, who's been a brilliant mentor for me, who's down the back, Val March. Prior to coming to Pathways to the Pilbara, I worked for Aboriginal Jargon College, and I was honoured to work in the office with Val, bouncing ideas and things around. And I can tell you that since I've left, there's been so many times where I've thought, what would Val do? What would Val say? And that is a true mentor, someone that you can model your behaviours from. So I hope I picked up the right ones there, Val, but thank you so much for being such a big part of my life. Watch your space, because we're hoping to have Pathways to the Pilbara frameworks set up all over the country to make sure that Aboriginal people can maximise those opportunities that are there in the resource sector. And that's the way we're moving ahead. But just before I go, and you will get to talk to them later, we do have some very special people in the room from Monadelphous, and almost didn't say it, Tara Martin from Monadelphous. When we went to Perth and we were banging down doors, Tara had just started with Monadelphous. Monadelphous is one of our largest industry partners and has taken most of our people. Tara, Monadelphous is this great big multi-storey building, really, really flash, and we were giving it all a go. We were going and marketing Pathways to the Pilbara to the mining companies, jobs for our people, fly in, fly out. I walked into Monadelphous not knowing what to expect, and there was Tara, and she just grabbed us, took us on board, and made it happen. And it's been so easy. And I have to say, and apologies to any other companies that are here listening, but the process with Monadelphous has been so easy and so great for our people. And it's just, you know, just like that. It just happens so instantly. We do the screening. Tara was doing the selections, and away we went, I think with 40 people in the first surge, which was fabulous. But this, she's such a vibrant woman, and I know that she represents a great company. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lottie has done a short video of some of our recruits, and we'd just like to play one now, which is Jeremiah Cohen, who's one of our early recruits, who's down the back there. And it's Auntie Lottie talking with his wife and his kids. Yeah, next one. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Just got it. Right, recording. Hi, Jeremy and Megan. I'd like to thank you for taking your time out to do this interview this morning, catching you through use of painting your house. It looks amazing, the new transformation of colour. Now, Jeremy, I'm just going to get you to introduce yourself, my brother, and tell me who you are to start off with.
Jeremiah Cohen from Pilbara. What else now?
Now, the other part was, Jeremy, how did you hear about the Pathways?
Through cousins.
Okay.
Cousins got onto it, and then they told me, and I rang up and got onto it that way.
Right, did you find it easy to did you find it easy to get in contact with the Pathway mob as well?
Yeah, got first mobile number I got was Wendy's, so
Yeah.
I went from there.
Okay, that's good. So how long did it actually take you to get your training underway for Wendy and the Pathway mob?
This is when it first actually started up, so
Yeah.
it took me about a couple of months. Trained in December and I flew out in February.
That's pretty good, hey. So how did you find their training anyway to start off with? Was it culturally appropriate and met the needs of...
Yeah, it was all good like that. And Wendy and Brad, really nice people.
Oh, fantastic. And what do you think of going into the mines to start off with?
I couldn't wait. It
Couldn't
was
wa-
one of my goals since I was about 20.
Oh, amazing.
About like 8 years later I got in.
Oh,
He said he wanted to be in the mines before he was 30, so he did that.
So you did aim a goal, and that's a great goal,
Yeah.
especially for a young Aboriginal man with a family.
Yeah.
How did you said something briefly before that, which Megan touched on, that you're the most trained fella that she's known. So can you explain about that prior to Pathways?
I just living on the mid-north coast there is just hard to get work, and then all you do is you're doing training and there's no outcomes and there's no jobs at the end of your training, so there's so many certificates laying around that I don't even use. So
Yeah,
this is probably one of the first jobs I've had, did a bit of training and got a job out of it, so
Oh, fantastic.
yeah.
Now, Megan, how did you feel about Jeremy, first off travelling onto the mines?
I think I was excited for him because he was so excited for it, so I just supported him in what he wanted to do, really.
That's great to hear, because I find sometimes some of our young folk that have gone over there, it's a bit of a fear factor being away from, because you've got a very young family here, and I think that's great to hear that impact that you've really supported him, because it was his goal and exactly what you said before he's 30, and he's got to that goal, and that's an amazing story to hear that. And what has been the positive thing about Jeremy, actually going into the mine? What type of changes has it made to his life?
Well, more structure. We know where we're heading, really.
Oh, fantastic.
With like family and working, we know what's happening, and know you'll be back in 4 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is, and we plan for that week away to do something, so the kids don't miss out on anything, and we can actually take them places and enjoy that week off.
Oh, amazing. And Jeremy, for you too, coming back, what does it feel like to you come back home to your family, bud?
It's feeling of accomplishment, can do whatever we like, go to Queensland for holidays, and just made me feel proud, I can support my family plus my grandparents and that, my mother and all that.
Amazing.
Look after them too, so.
Well, your little son's in the room at the moment, but he's alright. He seems to be the man of the house, when you're not here.
Yeah.
But from the girls, how do you feel, my darling, about Daddy going away? Hey?
How do you feel when Dad goes on the plane? Do you
Yeah?
like it, or are you sad? Are you sad when Dad go away?
No.
Are you happy?
Then what happened when Dad gets home? Do you feel happy when Dad gets home, though?
You happy when you go pick him up?
From the airport?
Yeah.
Hey?
I can't shut him up in the car. Dad this, Dad that.
Aw.
On the way to the airport, hey.
That's great.
Gives me a break.
Yeah, and that's good. So even when you're over there, Jeremy, do you make personal contact back to home frequently, or have you?
Yeah, every night.
Every night?
FaceTime. We see each other on FaceTime.
Fantastic. So that's another thing that can help our young families too, understanding and getting them computer technology as well into being home each night to connect back to their families.
Yeah,
Because
I've got to get in contact with them every night, or I can't sleep.
that's good. That's good. And probably the same for them too, guys?
Yeah.
Do you love talking to Dad at night time, my girl? Yeah. What do you say to him? Nothing. What, you just smile like you're smiling for me now, baby girl?
Huh?
Oh, do you have a good old yarn? He's a man of the house. He's propping around there. He's got his game on. Hey, bud.
It makes it easier when you get support from your partner and that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the main things.
Yeah.
Support.
And you can tell, like, just coming in here today, personally from my vision, is seeing the happiness and the warmth.
Yeah.
And the naturalness about you fellas, you know, and just see it. And once again, thanks Megan for being very supportive towards your partner there, my girl. Because these big changes, actually, you know, what do you see the long-term goal for your children anyway as they're growing up? What are they seeing? Can you explain that? What do you think they've seen?
Well, we know they're not going without.
Yeah. We're going to go without and
They
just
know you got to
get
work
the
for
right
a living.
education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know that you got to work and.
Got to work for what you want.
Yeah.
And how do you feel, bud? There he goes, cruising back into his little room. But the main thing is, I'd like to thank you for your time this morning, because I know I interrupted your very busy day morning doing your painting, but it looks amazing. See, hands painting. The kids are all into it as well, so that's even like, I like seeing how you work as a team.
Yeah.
Just walking in here straight away, seeing what you were all doing before I arrived. I mean, as I arrived, was amazing. But thanks for your time, and thanks for the future for the rest of our mob that may be leading to that pathway as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh. I've just written a few little notes from that little story, and again, that's a human story, it's a real story. And I always say when I talk to people around the country, you see all this doom and gloom, but as people we've got to do one thing every day in our lifetime, and that's look in the mirror and have a look at the person that's looking back at you. And if you don't feel good about who you are, you've got a problem. And that little story there brings tears to your eyes too, because it shows a family of people together with young ones, and the role of the father in that case to have the job. And he talked proudly about what it meant. The job means more structure, family time. We can do things for the kids. Sense of accomplishment, pride, and we can do things as a family. And that's just a small cross-section of what one job means to one family. Wendy apologised to other industry people here, and I don't think you need to do that. I think as a country, government and private sector can learn a lot from what you're actually doing as pathways. You're providing opportunities for people in a very culturally respectful and dignified way, but you're acknowledging that there's family, there's kinship, and there's shame, and there's all other elements that you have to deal with. It's a difficult pathway that you've got to take people on, and it's the mentoring and support that you do that I think underpins your success, and that's something that other industry and government should come and have a look at and learn from what you're doing, because we need to invest, and the word invest is a more dignified term, I think, that should be used in terms of Aboriginal people. We need to invest in who we are, and that's what you're doing. It's a shame Rob Oakeshot's not here, because I would have liked to have personally shook his hand too to congratulate him for his contribution and his foresight to see that this would work. It's a pity other politicians don't have the same foresight, and whilst I acknowledge that he's not here, I also probably congratulate him on getting out of the rat race he was in and having a bit of a holiday. But in his place we've got Jane Titterington, who's going to come and talk about the IVTech funding. Is that right? Is that you, Jane? Don't make out you're shy.
I know, I've got a bit of an injury. So hello everyone. I didn't know I was coming to talk about IVTech funding today, but I'm glad to be here to celebrate. I do apologise that Rob is not here. I know I'm not much of a replacement for him and that everybody would like to shake his hand, but I know he would be thrilled with the stories that I'm sure we'll hear today and the successes that have come out of this IVTech funding and all the work that's been done by Wendy, Renee, Mark, to bring this together. So I was here a couple of years ago, I think, when we had a community consultation day with everybody bringing ideas forward and trying to find a way forward to do something about low unemployment in the area. And I, as I said, I'm really looking forward to hearing the success stories and the things that have happened here. And I am proud that I have been part of that. And I have got a couple of words here. As I said, I know he would have liked to have been here today because it is an issue that's very, very close to his heart. And I don't know if the Dunghutti people know that he did a speech in Parliament in Dunghutti the other day. I should have bought that, but I'd encourage anyone to go and have a look at that, which is just another aspect of the passion that he feels for this. So congratulations to everybody involved. I'm sorry I'm not him. And as I said, I'll look forward to meeting everybody and hearing the success stories that have come out of this funding. Thank you. Even on my knees.
Yep, that should be good.
Okay. I'd be interested in seeing the speech in that Rob Oakeshott did in Dunghutti. I'd also be interested to see the transcript to see how well they did it actually typing all of that and getting all the language right, because that's something I think that is a real credit to him, because if I was to go into politics, I'd actually proudly get up and acknowledge my presence on Ngunnawal country as part of that, my maiden speech, but I'd also rattle off a proper acknowledgement to the Wurundjeri, the Bunurong, the Gunai Kurnai, the Kaurna, the Noongar people, Yamaji people, Maru people, Yaru people, Walpri people, Aranda, Jawan, Larrakia, Yolnu, Lado, and several hundred other traditional custodian groups. And I'd like to see our Parliament get the words right, because if they're going to close the gap in Aboriginal affairs, they've got to know who they're dealing with. If we're going to close the gap on Dunghutti country, well, we've got to speak to Dunghutti people. You've got a wonderful council of elders here already, and they're doing some remarkable jobs as well behind the scenes. To close the gap across any of these communities across Australia, we've got to know who we're speaking with. And today we're on Dunghutti country. We don't need to worry about the rest of the country. This is your business here. Uncle Greg Brown, you're going to come up now and talk about social impact.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Before I start, I'd just like to pay my respects to the Dunghutti elders, past, present, and also like to mention the future of the Dunghutti people. A lot of you guys are sitting out there in fluorescent shirts today, which is a very proud sight for me to see, because I know we've got some good role models for the future. I'm just going to read a little bit out what I wrote. I just say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to our distinguished guests that have travelled from near and far. Welcome to our little paradise here in Kempsey, between the mountains and the oceans, on the banks of the mighty Macleay. My name's Greg Brown and I'm an Aboriginal Liaison Officer with the Mid-North Coast Police Command. And being a liaison officer in your own town is something special. You get the opportunity to walk the streets, drive around out-of-line areas and speak to the people and get their stories and feedback of what's happening in our town. It's very important. I have lived and worked most of my life in and around Kempsey, and I've seen a lot of changes. The changes in the past years, the past 3 years have been great for Aboriginal employment and will get better in the years to come. And thanks to Royal Oakeshott again, with the upgrade of the Pacific Highway, right along the north coast from Port Macquarie in the south to Coffs Harbour and further in the north. I was lucky enough to be asked by Leighton's out here, Habby down at the bridge, to go out and speak to the young people that were working on the highway and upgrades and that, because I done two up bypasses, one up at Bonville and one down at Coopanook. And it was great to be able to speak to those guys. During the time on those upgrades, I made some great friendships with the guys on site, and when they come here, they ask me for some advice about our local guys and things like that, and they asked me to be a mentor out on some of the sites. But it's great to see that young people are going to have some employment in the future. This area along the north coast has a high population of Aboriginal people, and on those bypasses there are guaranteed positions for Aboriginals built into the contract for the upgrade. In saying that, the biggest change in employment for Kempsey, especially for Aboriginal people, is the pathway to Pilbara. And I had a lot to do with Wendy and Brad from our first barbecue up at Burrington, when the Fab Five, as they called them, that was Nigel, Uncle Sol, James, Don and David. And I don't think we could have asked for a better group of guys to send over there. A bit of mixture there with Uncle Sol, a bit of an age there, somebody to talk to, out in isolated positions, and then Nigel's the clown, and James the wannabe, gonna be, do this and that, all this he was going to do before he started. But James got over there and he's proved his worth. You know, when Pathway for Build was, before they came, we had limited opportunities of employment in Kempsey. And it's very hard, because I used to walk into ETC, Verto, Wesley United, and all these places, and ask for jobs for Aboriginal people, because our people wanted to work, our young guys wanted to work. But they had no opportunities back then, and then the bypass came, and I was still wandering in. And when people knew I was working on the bypass, they said, how do I get here, Unc? How do I get there? Well, they asked me questions and I had no answer, because I didn't know what was going on. But with Brad and Wendy now, with the Pathway, they update you nearly every day. You go in there for a cup of coffee and chocolate Tim Tams. I got my own special stuff there. They treat me really good. With the employment here in Kempsey, and going back over a long period of time, I worked up at the hospital for 26 years And in that time there wasn't many Aboriginal people working here. And it was sad, because when I was growing up, there was work nearly everywhere. There was the mills. My father worked with Bob Watts as the sanitary picks up. When the old toilets were outside, my father worked on that. And I didn't want to follow in his footsteps. But now things have changed. You see the changes in our streets. I mean, I walked out front of the police station there a couple of months back, and Jake drove past in the Commodore. Highway patrol bloke said, "Who's that, Brownie?" I said, "Oh, that's Jake. He's working over the mines." 10 minutes later, Nigel drives past in the black Commodore. "Who's that, Brownie?" "Oh, that's Nigel. He works over in the mines," I said. So, and then somebody else drove past. I think it was Dave Bolt. "Don't tell me, Brownie, he works at the mines." I said, "You're right." Because with everybody now got good cars and driving around, because the guys worked out on the highway and that, they've got cars and things like that, so they don't bother to ask anymore about this guy. What are they doing driving in those cars? You know, I've been involved with Pathway almost from the start, and to see the faces of the trailblazers, that's James and them again, Uncle Sol, Nigel, James, David and Don, when they're getting their tickets and HR licence, that was something really special to see. Here's Uncle Sol struggling to read and write, but he's out there trying to get his HR licence. And that's what I tell a lot of kids today. Go to school, get yourself a licence, because a licence to us people as Aboriginal people is like the HSC to a non-Aboriginal person. If you can get a licence, and putting the pressure on Brad and Wendy again, go and see Brad and Wendy, you're almost guaranteed to go over the mines. So that's what I tell the young people today. Go and get yourself an education with the knowledge to get a licence, because it's great to see you around. We now need support from the council. I hope you're listening, Liz and Bruce. I haven't seen you, Bruce, since the election. I'd like to see you again sometime. You know, because if this is going to work in Kempsey, and if we can get something right in Kempsey, everywhere else in New South Wales will follow. Because Kempsey is a great place. Don't forget it, we've got a lot of good things happening here. You mightn't see it every day because you don't walk the streets every day, but I do. I see changes in this place, for the better too, not for the worse. I was on the highways, as I said before, and you'd hear people coming from different places of Australia. "Oh, you come from Kempsey. Is that where this is happening? And that's where that's happening? And that's where that's happening?" You know, you get sick and tired of it. So I'd take it for a little while, then I'd explode. Don't tell me what's happening in Kempsey. Come and see for yourself what's happening in Kempsey. See where we've come from in Kempsey. That's what I'd tell people. And, you know, even when someone was here from here building coals over here, I met him down at Coopanook, and he was telling me about how people are drinking it in the park and that. I said, "That's a lie." I said, "They don't drink in the park." I said, "They might drink, but they don't drink in the park. They go down behind Woolies, so you're a liar. You don't know anything about Kempsey. So don't tell me what's happening in Kempsey, because I come from Kempsey and I know what's happening in Kempsey." But that's, you know, little stories like that, you know, shuts people up. You know, as a liaison officer, I have people ringing me, young people today, ringing me, "Unc, I've got to go to Pathways. I've got to go to court next week or the week after. Can you give me a letter of support? Can you come and talk for me?" Wait on. You done the crime. Now do the time, I'd say to them. But unbeknownst to them, you know, I'd give them a helping hand. I'd have a chat to the prosecutor or Mr. Evans, if I can get that, because it's simple little things that could make a hell of a difference in somebody's life. If you get these people away from Kempsey into a job or an opportunity anywhere else, not only in the mines, but anywhere else in Australia, you get them away from Kempsey, they go away and make it a man of themselves or a lady of themselves, and they come back here, they're better people for it. And if they're better people for it, then Kempsey's a better place to have these people. And you know, with their court matters, it'd be suspended licence, unpaid fines, silly little things. But it has a big effect on families' lives, because if they lose their licence, they've got to walk around. There's no public transport here in Kempsey, so they've got to walk around. Durry tries a lot, and congratulations to Durry for their efforts of getting people to the hospital, getting people to the medical centre. But they can't do it all. You know, with Uncle Sol and Uncle Kev, Nigel, Dave, James, you know, our future looks bright. We've got some good role models. And I know I'm talking about Kempsey, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm building up Kempsey. But right along the north coast now, and inland to Armidale and other places like that, some of these guys have gone over there. Now their town's got role models in them. They don't play football, they don't play cricket. Our role models are actually working. Proud Aboriginal people working. And we haven't had that before. Maybe a couple of us. Uncle Bob's out there, he's worked all his life and he's still doing it, and he's still trying to do it, and still want to go away somewhere, and that silly old bugger. You know, the greatest feeling I've ever seen was the smile on these kids' face, and the mothers and the partners when they're walking out of Woolies or Coles or IGA and that. Before they used to push one trolley, now they're pushing two. Toys, never heard of before. They had to sacrifice. Oh, I've got to pay this, I've got to pay that, son, I can't buy you that there toy, wait till Santa. Now they're getting it middle year, so Christmas in January, February, March, April, May. When Daddy comes home, they're all getting toys. So, you know, for these kids, it's something wonderful to see. You know, it's changed the lifestyles of a lot of people. You know, a lot of these young fellas, I walk around the street, he's having a bong. I'm going into the pub here, don't go in there. But when they go around and sign up for pathways, and they're asked by Wendy and Brad, you know you've got to be clean. You know you've got to be tested. Yes, yes, Wendy. Yes, Brad. Yes, Jan. Yes, Christiana and Jayani. We know that. You know, it's something wonderful to hear them say they know they've got to be clean. And I've seen guys that's been bonging and drinking it for the last 40 years of their lives. All of a sudden they're clean, walking around, all dressed up, clean shaved and everything. Putting a bit of weight on here, you know. And it's never happened in Kempsey before, but all of a sudden it's happening. And you know, these kids are smiling, Dad's coming home and that. And you know, not only that, is the other kids that's coming through now have these people to look up to. How much you getting? 4,000 a month maybe, you know. I used to have the same question asked me when I was working down there. At Cooper, look, how much you getting a week, Unc? I used to say, well, how much are you getting a fortnight? He didn't know. I said, well, how much is the dole? Oh, it's $320 a fortnight. Well, Uncle, I'm getting $1,500 a week. Can I get the job with you, Unc? I said, to get a job with me, you wouldn't want that. I talk too much. I said, you get off the stuff you're on, get off the dole and get yourself a job. I said, and you'll have the opportunity of earning $1,400 a week too. You know, as I say, the lifestyles have changed, and women and their kids are walking around smiling and things like that. A lot of you people wouldn't see it, but I see it. As I said, I'll drive around, walk around, talk around the town. Not only to our Aboriginal members, but to nearly every one of these business houses in town. And they'd say, Greg, what's happening with this? What's happening with that? I said, oh, pathways to Pilbaras. They're sending people over the mines, ETC, Verto, the ASD, you're getting young Aboriginal people trained. And that's a big important point too, is these young school kids getting traineeships. And I'm not just talking about my granddaughters here, but there's other kids too. I'm lucky enough to have one that worked in the Westpac as a traineeship, and now she's doing uni in business studies. Unheard of for a long time in Aboriginal people, in Aboriginal communities. Our Aboriginal girls and boys going to uni. It's happening all right, and it's happening right here in Kempsey. I have another granddaughter doing traineeship with ANZ Bank. And that's not all. There's other business houses that using Aboriginal kids now to work in the department stores, grocery stores, IGA and other places like that. It never happened in my time of growing up. But it's happening now. So when you talk about social changes in your town, these are the things that are happening. These are things that's got to happen. And to do that, we need people like the council, the government, business houses, not only in Kempsey but everywhere else, every other country town, because we can't get access to stuff in Sydney, but we can help one another here in our country towns to get these things happening. And the only way we're going to get it to happen is if the government, the federal government, state government, local government, you listening there, Bruce? Yeah, I can see the smile on your face. We've got to all work together. Aboriginal organisations, business houses in town, we all got to work together. And believe me, there is a future in our town. Because the bypass went through, people saying they're going bypassing our town, they're not. I see the more cars in town here today than there was when the bypass, than there was in the holiday time. And you used to get a few k's out of town there, be backing up. But now there's more cars, the car park's full. So don't try and tell me there's nothing happening in Kempsey. It's happening here in Kempsey, and well, I'd just like to mention Jan. If Mr. Oakshot's retiring from over that way, tell him he can come over and apply on this side of the river, because we want some of that stuff what Tari's been getting, what Port Macquarie's getting, what Coffs Harbour getting. We could use somebody like him over here in our town, Maxwell, Nambucca. We're lucky our hospital's been built, I tell you, before he retires, because I don't think it would have happened. But anyway, I'd just like to say thank you very much to everybody for listening to me. And hopefully we can all work together for the future, for the betterment of our little town, Kempsey. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle. You fired up once you put your paper down, you're right. One of the key messages there is not about us and them when it comes to government, industry and business, it's about we. We actually have to come together and work together, and that's a very important thing. And I was saying earlier to Renee, who's our next presenter, there's a whole lot of organisations these days that have reconciliation action plans. Those things have been around in other forms for 40 odd years, and really today it's about, if we're going to do something with Aboriginal people, it is about real tangible things in the form of jobs, making sure that training leads to actual jobs. And as with that story earlier, the young bloke had many certificates, but nothing, didn't need to use them, and that's a real shame. That says there's a waste of money in that space. So we invest in a different attitude and approach, we'll see positive things happen. Thanks, Uncle, for your presentation earlier, and I understand from Brad and Wendy that the Tim Tam bill for pathways is $150 a month, and you're there every day looking for Tim Tams. And so you should be, because I think the impression I got was you're a very, very valuable member and participant in that discussion, because you know the community, as you say, you walk the land of this particular part of the country. I should have apologised up front actually, because in Queensland, where I come from, we have this ability to win Origin football. Seem to do it every year. But may I say, there's a saying in Queensland that we've had this brilliant footballer, the best footballer that Queensland's produced in the last 8 series. He's the best player for Queensland. He's that Dunghetty boy, Greg Inglis. And but anyway, I just had to throw in that. I hope you win next time, but it's about time he's had a win, because we're sick of winning. No. Renee, I'll get you to come up now and talk about your role in local employment coordinator. I want to know what this is all about. Up here, Renee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Dunghetty people, offer my respect to elders both past and present, and extend that respect to anyone here today representing Aboriginal communities, and extend that respect to everyone here in general. I'm a local employment coordinator for the Mid-North Coast. I'm contracted by the Department of Education, Employment and Workplace Relations, without which I don't think we would have got the support to help make this happen. Every day I'm in this job, I start my working day by driving across a state forest. And I don't have a 4-wheel drive, I have a car, and as I was driving across this morning, I was thinking about pathways to the Pilbara. And I was thinking that, well, you know, it's certainly more than a pathway. It's pretty much like this road I'm driving on. It's been such a journey, you know, you think, you know, it's only a short distance that you need to get, but the road, as Wendy has said, there's lots of potholes, it can be rocky, it's slippery after it's rained, there's creeks and rivers to cross and rickety bridges. And I think in terms of us working together with the Pathways team to get this project funded was pretty much like that. It's quite challenging to meet the needs of everyone when you're putting forward a funding application to government. Not only, you know, are there guidelines in that respect, but it's also meeting the needs of the mining companies. It's also meeting the needs of the actual workers that are going to take up these roles. Their, you know, training needs, their personal needs, the social supports. There is so much that has to be considered. And Pathways to the Pilbara just gave everything so much attention to detail. And, you know, I think that's key to their success. What I'd like to do today, and I think it's been said about, you know, speaking from the heart today, so I'd like to go back and talk about, I guess, the beginning of this journey from my perspective. As a local employment coordinator, I have a large committee of about 25 people that I work with to develop a regional employment plan for the region. One of our key strategies under that plan is working to close the gap and improve employment outcomes for Aboriginal people in our region. And I remember a meeting where the federal member for Lyne, Rob Oakeshott, turned up, and he threw out a challenge to develop a fly-in, fly-out program. And I can tell you that was one of the most interesting meetings I've had in my life. You know, there were supporters, there were people that opposed the idea, but at the end of that meeting, the woman called Wendy Arnold approached me after that meeting, and she said, "We can do this, we can do this." And of course, as Wendy said, I said, "Why not?" So we took up the challenge, and as I said, it's not easy meeting everyone's needs to secure funding. It was difficult. We had a lot of things to consider, you know, how to work across state boundaries. You know, it wasn't easy, but we did it. We secured funding with the support of the department I work for, and I'm so grateful they were so flexible and had faith. So I really extend thanks to them for believing. From there, as we've heard, came the Fabulous Five. And without you, again, I don't think we could have continued. You know, you were just leaders. You were pioneers for this program. If you guys hadn't have got it right, we couldn't have continued. And I really thank you, because you are leaders within your community, and for all those young kids that can now come up and perhaps join in working for this sector. So I think that's really important. Again, if it wasn't for your success, we wouldn't have been able to take advantage of the IVTech funding that was brought to the region through Rob Oakeshott. And again, there were still guidelines. Even though that funding was available, there were still guidelines to meet and a number of stakeholders to work with to get that right. So it all had its challenges. It wasn't an easy feat. When Wendy first came to me, I said to her about this program, I said, if we're going to make this work, Wendy, there has to be a couple of things. You know, we have to start with getting mining companies on board. There has to be demand for us to get this across the line. And also, we have to have community support behind us as well to make this happen. People have to want it. And Wendy and Brad, you know, to steal the words of Rob Oakeshott, to borrow them, I'd like to say, you know, I dip my lid to you both, because even before there was funding, you made that journey to Perth, you knocked on those doors, and you made sure the demand side was there, which makes our job on the supply side a hell of a lot easier. So I thank you both for that. I think it's been, you know, pointed out here today that there are so many benefits, not just economic benefits, but social benefits this brings to a region and to community in general. And, you know, personally, with hand on heart, I have to say, you know, this may be my job, but really you have enriched my personal journey in life by allowing me to be a part of this program. And it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you. I guess, you know, what I'd like to leave you with today is, you know, to go back to that analogy about, you know, driving across the state forest. And, you know, we've still got a way to go. We still want to get more investment from more mining companies, you know, to continue this program on into the future. But along that journey, along the path, along the rocks, along the potholes, the bridges, my advice is occasionally wind the window down, look at the beauty around you. The stories here are testament of that, and take a deep breath, because I don't think anyone's finished yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. You can sit down, Renee. That's deadly. Thank you very much. I must just alert people to the fact that Renee came here power dressing in her red and black today, and it had such an effect that I forgot Uncle Kevin's story. So we've got to go back now and get Uncle Kevin Smith's story. Yep.
No, you're right, Grant. Thanks. Yep, morning everyone. My name's Kevin Smith and I'm a FIFO worker, fly in, fly out worker. Been out to Pilbara for the last 12 months. But prior to that, I used to work for State Forest. I worked there for 37 years, and the first 5 that went out there when I retired, I was retired in 2009, and then sat around for 18 months, and then Wendy and Brad got a organisation going. It's called the Pathway to the Pilbara, and they got Solly and Welsh and them out there and trained them up to go to the Pilbara. And they kept telling me, what are you doing sitting around at home? Why don't you come out and with us? So I did. They talked that much, convinced me that much that I went in and seen Brad and Wendy, and and I got to appreciate Brad and Wendy for all the things they did in that early days, because those first 5 were the first group of people that went out, and we was the second influx that we had the opportunity to do that. But saying that, look, I can't say enough about Brad and Wendy, because in the early days, you talk about IFCO and Rob Oakshop and that, but in the early days, Brad and Wendy started this company up with nothing but their love for our Aboriginal community, and they can see working with Aboriginal, I think. You can see all Aboriginal people out in work. So they mortgaged the house and done everything. They battled and struggled, and kids just be in the room there when we were doing classes and stuff like that, and they did it on their own without anyone else's help. And they've seen the potential there, and I'm pleased that it worked out for them and for the community of Kempsey. But, I can only talk about the social impact of the community, and so I put my name down not to go out and make money. I didn't need the money, and I was sick of working, but I thought I'd be a role model for the community, like the young fellas. But now, looking back, I was also a role model for mature people going out there, because I was my age, and I thought, old fella like me can go out there. There's a lot of young fellas out there can go out there, and a lot of older fellas, which I know for a fact that they used to bong and drink, and they thought 40 years or 30 years of age, their life was finished. They were just sitting there waiting to die or whatever. But now, those people got off the drink, got off the bongs, and they're out there working, and they love it, and they can't get enough work. And they also are now a role model for older people going out there. But look, Brad and Wendy, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing to the community. I've been in Kempsey all my life, and I've been on a lot of committees, a lot of organisations, on the bypass committee and I heard a lot of stories and a lot of promises, but they never did nothing for our community like Brad and Wendy did, because they said they're going to give us the world, open the doors for us, but it never happened. They employed about 5 or 6 young kids, which is fine, but they forgot about the mature people in the community, and that's the bread and butter. The young kids look up to the older people in the community, and they follow their footsteps. And I can see today there's a lot of people waiting to go out there, and it's going to be a bit of a hard struggle for you, because the first time we went out there, we went out there for 2 months. We was in Perth for 2 months. We got to know Perth, we got to know all the motels. They sent us to a place called Yanchep on the beach, and it was really hard there. We had to cook our own meals and struggle a bit. There was 8 of us, I think, but it come back to people had to come home, and all the time we was out there, Brad and Wendy rang up and supported us, Age is Right, and there was other issues, cultural issues, that people had to come back home, and Brad and Wendy put their hand in the pocket and paid their fare home, and we supported one another in that area, like where we were staying at Yanchep. But then we went to motels after motels for 2 months, and we thought we'd never get on site. But we did. We just hung in there, and you fellas just going out there now, you're doing a lot of training here, but we had to do it out there, and you do 1 week you do one lot of inductions, and might have to wait the next week you do 2, and there's all this training you had to do out there on the job. I mean, they put us in a modulator, $1 million modulator, to drive dump trucks. You know, that's a buzz, because drive these big trucks, you think you're in the trucks. But there's opportunity for all those guys to do that. There's a lot of paperwork involved, and you know, and there's a lot of persistence. You've got to keep at it, and there's a lot of failures. But we all supported one another with Brad and Wendy's help, you know, because they rang up and supported us, keep going, and all this. And if something went wrong, we'd just ring them up and they'd fix it, you know. But like I said, Brad and Wendy done a lot for us, and now James back, and he's there. But I know where his heart want to be. So, but and it'll go for all the other guys out there. The young fellas, just be patient and hang in there, and it'll happen. But you know, it's not going to happen overnight. All I can say to you fellas is waiting, that you look at the company where you want to go to and what you want to do. It's not going to rely on Brad and Wendy to put you up out there, because there's specific jobs out there, and you know, and you need to say, look, I want to be a dogman, I want to be a crane driver, I want to be a forklift driver, I want to be a truck driver. I've driven graders, and I was a grader driver, truck driver. I was all sorts of things in Forest, New South Wales. I hope Renault don't hold it against me about our roads. So it's to grade all the roads and bridges and stuff like that. But you know, there are specific jobs, and you guys sitting here on your butts doing nothing, you should look at the company where you want to go and what opportunities there. If there's a forklift or if it's a dump truck you want to do, well, target that and get your foot in the door in that area. Then you can branch out once you get in there. But you know, don't rely on Brad and Wendy, because they can only do so much. It's up to you guys. Not going to come into one page, you know, one page saying what you did all your life. You're trying to get some what can I say, some experience under your belt, and sometimes you might have to bluff a little bit with it, but that's life. Everyone does it, you know. So you need to do that and get a good resume up, and have some experience in what you can do, and it'll work for you. So at the moment, I've been out there for 12 months as a FIFO worker. Came back in April, and I've been home since April. Now I work for Eastern Guruma, Indigenous mob out there, which is great. And unfortunately, one of the guys is a Murray too. Ron Villaforce, he's a Queenslander, and he gives us a hard time, but he's a good bloke, you know. So, but Eastern Guruma, the Indigenous people I work for, they look after me really well. Now I've been doing induction this week and medical and stuff. I'll probably head back next week out to the Pilbara, going back to Tom Price. But I mean, I'm only there for a short time, and my role in going out there was a role model for the young kids, and also for the mature workers. You know, the opportunity for them to go out there, you know. But like I said, somebody's not going to make it, but like I said, pick what you want to do in life, or what you want to do out there, and aim for it, and get a foot in the door, and you can branch out. I think you guys can support me in that, because you know, if you come to Wendy and Brad with say, oh, I want a job out there, what sort of job? You need to know what you want to do. So talk to Brad and Wendy and sit down with them, and what's available and where you want to go to and stuff like that. But there's plenty of work. Don't listen to the radio. There's work there. My reason I got demob, they call it. It wasn't a window seat, it was a demob. Window seat is when you get the sack or do something wrong, which is not hard to do. But demob is that they need the rooms for other priority people. I think one of our Ray's mob, or Bullfrog's mob, his mob come in, they had priority over we were sort of closing down and finishing up, so they got priority. So we had to vacate 130 rooms for those monodelphous people, which is great. But like I said, that's just the way it is. That's the way it happens out there. So don't be frightened about getting demob, because there's opportunity down the track. And you know, and like I said, Uncle Greg said that You come back here with heaps of money in your pocket, but we need someone you talk to when you come back. I think Brad and Wendy put something in place that these people with all this money in their pocket come and talk to a financial advisor or someone like that that can help them control their money instead of going back out. I've been out there, I see these people coming back there, not only our mob, the Noongar people come back out there, nothing in the pocket, just lend them $50 till payday, you know, and they went home with $10,000 in the pocket and come back 7 days later with nothing, you know. So you need to manage the money you got and make best use of it, you know. Good to buy a car, but if you get demoted in 6 months, you're going to pay for it, you know. So do your homework and do it. That you guys are ready to go out there, and girls, a lot of girls out there, don't be afraid to get up, girls, because I've seen a lot of old girls and a lot of young girls driving trucks, driving all sorts of things, you know. So don't let these blokes put it over you. Get out there and stick it into them, because you can be just as good as them, you know. But if that's what you want to do, there's girls out in the offices, but the office girls want to get out because there's more money driving trucks or rollers or whatever. So, but look, I can go on and on with out there, but what I'm saying is that go out there, get the opportunity to go out there, get your money and manage it properly. You know, don't go back there and say, can you give me $50 for paid? I've got no smoke. So I said, what happened to your money? You just had $10,000. You know, so I mean, I was paying $2,700 a fortnight in tax. That's more than you guys will get in a month. You know, so it tells you there's opportunity there, but you've got to make the first move and talk to Brad and Wendy and James. And when I first went out, it was only Brad and Wendy. I come back 2 months later, got all these people there. You know, I didn't even know them. But there's, you know, and it's working really good. And the people they got is really great. So look, feel free to go and talk to them. And like I said, I can't thank Brad and Wendy enough. And you guys should just be patient with them and don't blame them for anything, because that's the way it is. But you've got to do half of it too. So thanks again, guys.
Evan. Ray Donovan is next. Ray? Yeah? As Ray comes up, thanks, Uncle, for your presentation and your cheekiness as well. You're told it as it should be, though. I think the most important thing is to acknowledge the fact that you are a role model. And to the young fellas, the young men in the room in particular, as men and as fathers, come on up, bros, we are our most significant role models to our children, and it's our children who watch us, so that's important for you to take on. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Donovan. Don't be shy, Ray.
Yeah, started off just doing the CDP when I was about 21. I was on the dole before that. Yeah, that was just 2 days a week, build up in the training, and it was just like work for the dole for about 7 years, 2 days, and that was it. Then they started a company off here in Kempsey called ACBC. Got into the trade there, got into a concreting trade, worked with a lot of Indigenous blokes and a lot of other Kempsey. They tried to like socialise with the Indigenous and non-Indigenous. I worked for a while there before the company shut down. It was open for about 8-9 years. Worked on a lot of houses and stuff. Yeah, from there I went to, when it shut down, got onto the labour hire companies, just hunting for jobs, hunting for the coin, trying to get some money together. I was just living payday to payday. As I was going along, got myself a wife, children, 6 children. Labour hire company was only casual work. Got onto the roads out here, Kempsey, onto the bridge. I was out in the concreting crew for a while. When it flooded, you know, I had no money. It rained for 2 months, so I had no money for 2 months. Ended up moving on to Maxwell into a pre-car shard. Went over there, got into the job over there. I was like about $600 a week, you know, busting myself, slaving the trade. And I think, oh, there's got to be something better than this. And I was reading in the Argus, the local paper, pathways to the Pilbara. I said, oh yeah, give him a call. So I'll ring him up, and yeah, I started talking to Wendy. First person answered the phone. She says, oh yeah, just come over, fill out the form, do a little bit of training. Done the training. I waited a little bit. Done an interview with Monadelphous company, and I went all right in it. I was a bit nervous and stuff, but yeah, got through it. And at the end of it, he said, oh, when can you start? I said, as soon as you chuck me on the plane. Yeah, and I got over there and I just sat down, ass up. First paycheck, or the first month's paycheck, was about 11 grand, 12 grand. I said, oh, gosh, you know, I felt really good. But yeah, I didn't budget myself for the first time I was over there, flying back and forwards. I've only just organised myself, structured myself properly, house and the kids. I was supposed to go and sell my house off today, got approved for a home loan. So, but yeah, Wendy rang me up, so yeah, so I got that. So I rang up, I had to book it in for tomorrow. My bus ran out of reg, so I've got to get that registered tomorrow as well. Yeah. And yeah, while I was working out there at one of the jobs I was working on, oh yeah, I've been flying in and out since August last year. I was just pulled up at a they got me on the my job out there is driving the flatbeds, 6 to 9 tonner trucks, and forklift telehandlers. I was out there, pulled up. I was talking to one of the other companies. I think he was for NRW. He was Indigenous bloke. So I pulled up and had a yarn with him. I said, oh, geez, that looks all right. Big machine, big excavator. He said, yeah, bro. He said, that's mine. I said, oh, what? Yeah. I said, oh, yeah. And that's why I just kept talking that with him. Yeah, and he's asking what I was doing. I said, oh, my own thing. I just said, oh, I had a little bit of a concrete thing going. I tried to start my own. But I had no money to back myself up, couldn't go nowhere, shut it down. I was doing like little cashier jobs and stuff. But yeah, and he just kept talking to me, you know, started popping my brain. I said, oh yeah, and because he said, I asked him how long he's been in the mines for, he said 15 years. And he was only just peaking his 50. And I said, how much are you getting all up, bros? He said, oh, I'm getting 7 grand a week clearing. I said, oh yeah, that'd be all right. He said, keep going, bros. He said, you know, after you get your house, pay it off. He said, get yourself established, get your little business going and stuff like that. Buy some machinery, come over here, start talking to him. I was thinking, oh yeah, this is all right. This, you know, sounds really good. And then I felt a bit, you know, like because it's got a little toll on you, working away from home, like kids, wife. So I went down to the little wetness. They got a little bar there. So I went down there a couple, and I was talking to this Sheila down there, this lady, yeah. And yeah, she just wanted to find out where I come from, and you know, I just tell them Dungutty from the East Coast. We just started having a yarn, and she goes, "Oh, you run your own little show?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, yeah, I work for Rio Tinto." She said, "If you ever get it up and going again," she said, "give me a call. You'll be able to line you up with some contracts." Oh, you know, like 5 years down the track, I think, oh yeah, it sounded good. But yeah, out there on the job, when I'm working on the job, that's like, that's always competition for me, because I'm going against like another 500 blokes, and like, being there for about 5 months, there's about 6 months left, or roughly about 6 months left for the, till I get demoed. So I'm starting to bank everything up, got to start saving, especially for this house tomorrow. You know, everything could be like, you know, put as much down as I can on it. I wanted to go out and buy a car. I seen all the boys, and I walked in the pathway, and I seen up on the wall, you know, the photos, the car. So I said, oh gee, that looks all right. You know, I'd been I'm almost 40, 38. I think I don't have to impress no more. Got me bus, kids. I was thinking, oh, put the house first. So I went straight in, got the house. I waited a little bit to get it. But yeah, that was just one of the goals, what I wanted to get, was the house. If I would have stayed over here working, it would have took me like 30 years to own it. You know, that's slaving the trades around here, hunting for the next job. But over there, I can own this house in about 4 years, what I worked out on this budget. Yeah, so yeah, that's the goal what I want to do. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I just want to thank Pathways for giving me that choice of going over there. I don't think I could have made it without them. Wendy and the crew.
Before you go, come back. Now this is what I'd call one laid back, cool cat. Badly, brother. Well done. And Ray, that's you should go and talk to some of these younger people again, and just talk to them about exactly what you talked about: is the importance of the job, the fact that you have to put off a discussion with your bank to go and talk about a bank loan for a house. You can do that tomorrow. I also picked up that you got the rego, but you can sort that out. You're earning a wage. That's what a job means. You've got that opportunity to do things, and that's an important message for young ones to go, because I know in the Noongar community from Perth down, there's a perception among the Noongar people that if they got a job in the mine, well then they're denouncing their culture. And that's not the case. You're still a proud black Dungari man, and you'll still be proud black Dungari man with a house and education for your kids and health and all those things. That's important stuff. You need to have a job in this world in order to go and hunt and gather in the supermarket is basically it. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Now next, now Monadelphous. I'm keen to, they've been praising you up. And Rob. So we'll hear the other side of the story from Monadelphous, which will be an interesting one too.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks very much. Look, I'd just like to quickly acknowledge the Dungari people as well, and the elders past and present. Also like to just acknowledge the Mayor of Kempsey. I haven't met yet, but hope to a little later on. Also want to acknowledge the Monadelphous employees who are in this room today. There's a couple of guys, Gary, Anthony, David Kelly's not here because he's just flown in this morning back from the west. Ray, fantastic message there, Ray, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit later, some of the achievements, I guess, of some of our individuals in terms of the people who've come from Kempsey. And we're going to hear from Joshua and Robert Wright. Now, Rob, only time I've ever seen you, mate, is in high-vis equipment, and he scrubs up pretty well. I remember this guy particularly because he'd been working for us for about 2 weeks in Port Hedland, and I was up there with Tara, and we were having a chat with the guys, and he was in my face. He said, I've only just started, I want to know what I can do next, where I can go, what's in it for me, and that's the sort of enthusiasm that really wins us over. Yeah, look, from an employer, I guess we've heard from the other side of the fence, what is it as an employer to, with our relationship with Kempsey? I guess Wendy touched on it very briefly before. It was almost one of those aligning of the stars moments. We had a commitment, I'm not sure if you're aware, but with a lot of the Indigenous land use agreements in the West, there's commitments to Indigenous employment. And one of the big projects we had over there was Port Hedland. And we had a commitment to have 10% of our employees as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. I just want to preempt what I'm saying by pointing out that is not the reason behind our employment program. Our employment program is about offering opportunities and growing the lives, I guess, of our employees, whether they be Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal. But at that time, we were therefore looking at around about 100 Aboriginal employees in Port Hedland. And we had a commitment to get them as quick as possible. And these are pressures brought down by BHP and FAST, who were the construction project managers. And Wendy came into the building. As Wendy said, we've got this flash new building on the river in Perth. And Wendy was in Perth. She said, I'll go and ask Monadelphous what's going on. And Tara, who had only been with us for about a month, she took that call from the office and made a commitment to meet Wendy. It's one of those moments where, you know, there's an effect called the butterfly effect, where if you make a decision different, how would it have long-term impacts? And if Tara had said, no, I haven't got time to meet Wendy, would this relationship ever have developed? And it may well not have. But she said, yeah, I'll meet Wendy. And from there, that relationship grew. And to the point where last year we employed over 60 Aboriginal people from Kempsey. Kempsey provides more employees to Monadelphous than any other place in Australia. It is by far the best service provider we've engaged with. And I don't say that just because I'm standing here today. I do mean it wholeheartedly. How do I measure that? Well, one's numbers. What about retention? We have retention rates amongst our Aboriginal population equal to and greater than our mainstream employment. So over everybody. Around about 85%. Now, when we look at that, think about some of the disadvantages that a lot of Aboriginal employees come to us from, with a lack of work history, with a lack of skills perhaps, and yet they're able to engage and remain with us. The question obviously is, why does that happen? And it's quite simply because of the program that Wendy and Brad have established over here, because they're realistic with the people who want to come and work with us, because it's not an easy game working in the remote areas, whether it be in the Pilbara of Western Australia or in the midwest of Queensland, midwest of Queensland, where we also employ quite a few people. The program, the pre-employment program, is the key to the success of the employment, because it builds in not just work skills, but life skills. It's things about time management, it's about financial management, it's about healthy lifestyles. Anyone here been on apart from the guys who work for us, anyone have been to a remote work site and walked into the mess? Where that buffet there, magnify it 10 times and go for it. As much as you want, as often as you want. You know, there's a wet mess. Beer's $2, $2.50. Go for it, guys. You know, you're going to blow on the alcoholizer the next morning to make sure you are under, you know, you've got zero alcohol in your blood, but it develops unhealthy lifestyles because you put on weight very quickly. And of course, fatigue is one of the great problems in the industry we're in. When you people let your husbands, wives, sons, fathers, mothers go away to work with us, they're going for 4 weeks. They're up 4 a.m. and they don't get back to the camp till probably 6:30 at night. And they do it for 26 days out of 25 out of 26 days they do it. They have 1 day off, an RDO. You've got to be able to survive that. And I commend, Kevin, for your words and what you said. If people can get hold of the things you said through this recording, I'd encourage every potential employee to listen to it, because the message you gave is so true. You do have to focus on what you want to do. You have to focus financially, because this is the industry we're in is about setting you up for life, and you can do it. Ray's just pointed that out. He's gone buying his house. He can buy it and pay for it in 4 years. You don't have to commit to a 20 to 30 year life in the remotes. But what it will do, it will enable you to get that establishment behind you. You can get your house, you can get your car, and then you can come back and you can work in a job which doesn't pay as much, but it allows you to live comfortably. And that's what we would encourage you to do. So I thank Wendy and Brad and their other employees for the work they do. They have done a fantastic job. We will certainly be re-engaging with Pathways and continuing to engage with them as we move forward. We've got a lot of guys at the moment who are demobilised. It was that word that was brought up. It's a horrible word. Tara and I spent a lot of time in Port Hedland because we ended up, actually, by the way, we ended up with 115 Aboriginal employees in Port Hedland out of a total of 1,400. 9%, which was by far greater than anyone else in the construction industry. the nature of our work is that we do contracts and then we demobilise. It's 9, 12, 18 months, and then that project finishes and we have to come off site, obviously, we hand over. I remember when we first went up there, you know, and we'd had people who'd been working for us for about 9 months, and they were saying, oh, I'm getting the sack. And it's just getting that concept that you're not getting the sack, mate, you know. You've got to just accept that another opportunity will come, but it might be a few months, because obviously we're bound by the tenders that we put in and the contracts we win. And it's really important, therefore, you do put money aside, that you do prepare yourself for that bit of downtime. It may not be long. We've got some guys who come off and then in a couple of weeks they're back on another job. And while I'm talking about that, I'll just quickly touch on another really important aspect, and that is your performance assessments. And that is, you know, that's the basis upon which not all further employment is based, but it does have an impact, and that is how you've performed when you've been on site. Now, I talk about some guys, talk about Wade Bull. Who knows Bully? Has anyone ever got a word in when he's in your presence? One, probably high, and that was it. Yeah, what a great guy. You know, he is an inspiration, I think. He's got a 100% attendance record. He's never missed a day of work. He's enthusiastic. He works hard. His PA comes back. Sensational. And you know, our supervisors are asked, would you re-employ this person? Yes, no, maybe. Now, if you get a no, it makes it really tough, because at the end of the day, your next job is based upon the approval by the project manager for that next job, not by Tara or Christina. They'll put their name forward, but they don't get to tick off on that person getting the job. So it's really important, guys, that you have good assessment sheets, that you keep yourself fit, that you work hard, and that, you know, you do as well as you can. And I just want to touch on one other point before I finish, and that is, what's our overall sort of target for Aboriginal people? Really, it's not about numbers to me, it's about how we can grow people and how we can help them progress. I'll give you a couple of examples. And if they're in this room, I don't want to embarrass them, but you know, guys like Francisco Blair, who knows Frank? Anyone know Frank? Great guy, you know, a more senior man, the most positive attitude you could ever have. He was a TA, he's a qualified mechanic. He came to us as a TA. I saw him up at Headland in January. We were demobilising, and he'd gone back in as a Peggy. Now, Peggy's someone who cleans the toilets, cleans the rooms. And I said, how are you with that? He said, I don't care. He said, I've got a job and that's all I want. He said, I'm still getting paid really good money. He's finished at Port Hedland. He's now gone to a place called Marandoo as a mechanic. All right. There's another young fella, Jade Cohen, who's also a mechanic, and he's gone to Western Turner in his second job as a mechanic. Randy Keeble, an electrician, started as a TA, now he's working as an electrician in, qualified electrician up at Wheatstone. Josh Walker, great guy, young fella. His story I really like. He came to me one day when I was up in Headland and he said, he was a TA, so you know what, I've been up here a while, I'd love to try and be an electrician. I said, well, all right, we'll need to get you a job as a TA, trade assistant, with an electrical side of the business, and then we can take it from there. He said, yeah, if you could. So I made some phone calls. We've got a special, do have an electrical and instrumentation arm to our work, and they took him on. He's now in line to do an apprenticeship to become an electrician. An electrician doesn't, not just for the mines or the construction industry, he could be an electrician working in Kempsey, in people's homes and in the businesses. Again, preparing, hopefully helping set people up for the future. Colin Quinlan, another fantastic young bloke. I remember him distinctly because he was one of the early guys up north. And I can remember from day one seeing him, he's just got that laconic sort of attitude. But, you know, he started as a TA. He's now done rigging and dogging, which basically means working with the cranes and helping with the construction work. And he's back on another site. So these guys are all examples, I think, of successes. But I'm not here to say that Monadelphous takes credit for that, because we don't. All successes are the result of the individual's work ethic and their desire. It's got nothing to do with us. We'll offer them a chance, and we do offer supervision and some support, but the guys make it themselves. It's not us. So I'll leave it at that, but I just want to say once again, thank you for inviting me over. It's my first time I've been to Kempsey. It's a beautiful town on the river. I know there's issues, as there is in so many towns, but if you heed the words of people like Grant, of people like Greg, about taking the most of opportunities and working hard, success will come, and you can get yourselves out of any sort of hole that you think you might be in, and you can have a fulfilling life. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Rob. And again, speak from the heart, you're always fluent, and thanks for the passion. I think as much as you could capture Uncle Kevin's story and use that in a positive way, I think you can capture your story, Rob. Rob, if you can capture your story. And where's this Tara woman? I've heard about her all the time. Can you stand up, Tara?
And Christina, who is also Christina, these are the two ladies who make it all happen at Mono's.
May I say that Monadelphous, and I've spent a lot of time in this place and space and seen a lot of companies trying to do the right thing, but can I say that you're probably a standout for me, and you've got a lot to tell other companies. They talk about corporate leadership in the Aboriginal space. I'd like to see other corporates speak from the heart and with the passion that you just did, so thank you very much. Now, Josh Trindle.
I first came through Pathways, started last year. I heard about them late 2011, and I went to see Brad and Wendy, and yeah, just talked to them, and then they put me through some training. Got an opportunity to start with a company called JSW Australia, which is a drilling company. So yeah, they offered me that position. I took that, and yeah, it was some of the hardest work I've ever done. Very dirty and muddy, but yeah, the money was good, so that's all that mattered at the time. And then stayed with them for about 6 months. Become redundant because they didn't have no more work. So then I was out of work for about, I don't know, 2 months or something like that. And again, went back to Pathways, and they helped me out again, offered me a position with Monadelphous. So I started with Monadelphous November last year. Started out as a TA. About 4 or 5 months later, they promoted me up to a plant operator. So I just operate the trucks, telehandlers and forklifts at the moment, so it's a bit different to working on the ground. I've got to watch what I eat because I'm just sitting down all day, so I've got a diet. Yeah, I enjoy working with Monadelphous. It's a good company, they look after us. I'm currently on R&R, I fly back this Sunday. Then I'm doing a week's course in Perth, doing my basic rigging. So they put me through that as well, that's another ticket for me. And yeah, I've got a 100% tendency record since November last year. So that's pretty proud of myself. And yeah, I just want to thank Brad and Wendy and for everything you've given me and all the advice and giving me a start in the mining industry. I enjoy it. Plan to stay there for a while. Yeah, so thanks.
You can bring your bling out, eh? Show me this. I see that gold chain there. What are you going to do? Show me. No, this one here. Bring that out. Now, if there's Hollywood actors, Hollywood producers here, they'd call you the Black Vin Diesel. So you're deadly, brother. Thank you. And good luck, Josh, with what your future plans are too. Yeah. Tim Gillett. Now, Tim, truck driver graduations, are you going to present some certificates, are you? Okay. Yep. I need to thank Tim on behalf of my brother, because apparently you taught him how to drive a truck at Ebenezer. Simon. Yeah. He's not the pieman, that's my little brother Simon.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd also like to acknowledge the Dunghutti people and also the other distinguished guests, particularly the Mayor. Also like to thank Brad and Wendy for inviting me down. Wendy sent me an email and said, would you mind coming down and presenting some certificates to the people that did our course with us, and I'm more than happy to come down. I didn't know I'd be standing up in front of everybody and having a bit of a yarn, but it's no problem. It is a small world, isn't it? Because one night I was driving home from work at about 6:30, 6:45, and I heard an ABC program, PM program, dedicated, and there was a story on about the pathways to the Pilbara. And lo and behold, sometime later I got a phone call from Dominic out of the blue from the pathways, wanting to know if he could hook up with me sometime and come out and have a look and see what we do. And I think it was mentioned earlier about the opportunities that you may miss. And I was actually busy through the week and couldn't catch up with Dominic, so I made an effort to go out and catch up with him on a Saturday morning. And look at where it's led to now. And it's one of those things, that opportunities that are given in life, and everybody needs to take opportunities and make the most of those opportunities that we're given. I'd also like to thank Brad and Wendy for sending up a crew. The 6 people that you send up were a fantastic crew, very, very easy to work with. The biggest thrill for us as a training company is to see people that have come from varying different backgrounds, but achieving something, and walk away with the confidence in their own abilities. Everybody can train and learn, but it's about attitudes, and it's about walking away believing in yourself. And hopefully that's what we've tried to do as part of the training process. Training is training, but helping people is helping people believe in themselves, and that's part of what we do up at Ebenezer. And hopefully this will shine through when you guys get out into your jobs, and I'm sure it'll come through, and Monadelphous will be very, very happy with you. I'd also like to thank, it's been a real eye-opener, and it's a real pleasure to sit and listen to the stories that have been put across today. For me, a real pleasure to sit back and just listen to those, and I thank you very much for that opportunity. So what I'd like to do is present some certificates, because the 6 people that came up and did the training with us, we went through a fairly intensive 10-day program, where what we did was we went through a whole lot of safety. We went through learning how to drive trucks. And some people, there was one particular candidate couldn't even drive a manual car, let alone drive a truck. So I think that stands for itself, the belief in the people that came up, that they can do it if you put your mind to it. Right? Exactly what we said earlier, work out what you want to do, put a goal, set a goal, and go and do it. So it was a real pleasure having you up there. What I'd like to do first is, I've got a presentation for Brad and Wendy, if you'd like to come up. We've got a little picture that we put together some time ago. We got it blown up, we got it framed, and it would be appreciated if you could accept that on behalf of all the crew from Ebenezer Employment and Training, and hopefully you might find it somewhere in your office. You might be able to hang that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. There's Dom.
There.
And before you go, I think this is yours. Here, Dom, you can have that one. Well, that's for yours too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good on you. Thanks,
no worries.
Tim.
Thank you.
Did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully Wendy will find a nice spot for that in the office. She can hang it up and remember us by. One thing that Dominic and I spoke about originally, I think there was a bit of a connection there, was the fact that, and it has been mentioned already today, that training for the sake of training is probably something that we haven't really got too involved with. Outcomes are what we want to see. And there's been very few. We've been approached by a lot of different job networks and training and providers to do some training for them, but there's really only been 2 companies, and Pathways to the Pilbara can walk the walk. They've actually done it, and once again, congratulations to you for doing that. Okay, so what we did up there is we did some haul truck training, so I've got some certificates. Our RTO was good enough to give me a copy of the certificates. So if I call your name, you can come up and receive your statement of attainment for driving haul trucks. John Carney. Congratulations. Sandra Mercy. Good on you. Thank you. Nathan Kelly. Where'd you get a bigger truck for this fella? Thanks, mate. Good on you. Rosalind Mosley. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Gary Scard.
No, I'm not kissing you.
No, I'm not kissing you either. There's a story behind this one. The last day that we actually did the training, Debray, I was telling everybody that everybody had passed, and Debray just nicked off. So anyway, I caught up with her, and as I told her that she passed, she burst into tears, and I think Gary actually did get a photo of it somewhere. So, yeah. Once again, just a testament to believing in yourself, and she got through the whole thing. So, Debray Brookman Riley.
Try not to cry.
Thank
you.
So once again, thank you very much for inviting me down and giving me the opportunity to present the certificates to all the crew. And once again, congratulations to Wendy and Brad and Dominic for what you're doing. It's really, really good. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue on. Lunch is getting ready to be served, so we've still got about 3 presenters before we go to Liz to do the closing. But thanks, Tim, for your passion as well. It's a nice thing to hear people like yourself speak in the manner that you do, and it's obvious that you've got a good rapport and respect among the people that you've trained, so well done. Ros Mosley? And Rob Wright can start getting psyched up too.
Good. Hello, I'm Rosalind Mosley. This way. Hi, I'm Rosalind Mosley. Do you want me? Will I turn? I'm Rosalind Mosley. I'm a very, very proud Dunghutti woman. I like to acknowledge my past and my present and the future where it's taken me in my journey. I'm a mother of 4 children, and I'm also from a teaching background from early childhood. Also work for the Forestry of New South Wales and Muswellbrook, and CALM is what brought me up to Kempsey and to come back to my roots. My journey starts with the changes to Kempsey, the visual. In the last 3 years personally, as working in early childhood sector, I'm also a family counsellor as well, where I work with community and families, supporting. But seeing the big feedbacks that are coming from the mums and dads that have already gone on from Kempsey onto the mining industries particular and the roads. The kids, the impact that has come through the children through their beautiful art drawings. The drawings are full of happiness. The drawings are full of aeroplanes where their daddies are or their mums are being. Coming into preschool, looking like little $1 million, being proud of all their little clothing, their shoes, and just hearing great feedbacks and the little stories and holidays. This is really Kids Matter and Wellbeing. This is the start of early childhood where it does count, where that fluctuation, when it's a happy home, happy mums and dads, great employment, the health issue rates start to pick up. The kids' wellbeing is picking up. The whole process of Kempsey, our looking of Kempsey, people are ringing here looking for jobs now. We're not the criminal rate that's always on TV all the time on all the criminal activity. We've got so much to be proud of in Kempsey itself to start off with. I'd like to thank you. Wendy, you went gold mining. Look what you brought back from the gold. You prospered Kempsey in that journey, being the process. So it's filtered right through the whole of Australia. People ringing here to Kempsey, and I'd like to thank Wendy and her husband, but also I'd like to thank your kids. They're the ones that have put their little lives on hold, seen their parents go out and help support the whole of New South Wales and vast region of the nation. I'm a little bit nervous because I want to keep my emotion inside of here. But the main thing I want to express too is Tim, another person that just, I've nearly, oh gosh, I don't like mentioning my age, but I'm too, well, I can be an elder very shortly. But I'm very thankful to have a change of life, to have a different visual of scenery as well, because like you're getting older and you think, I'd like to have another challenge too. And I'd like to thank Brad and Wendy for giving me that challenge and, you know, like going in there, because the feedback was from the first 5, seeing them and how amazing their stories were, because I taught a couple of their kids as well at that time, and just seeing the happiness once again through the kids' social and emotional well-being and health issues that seems to, you know, like just make changes. So there was opportunities for these kids, opportunities for these families to see much more than just, because Kempsey hasn't got a very much of stuff to outreach to. You have to go away to have kind of fun and museums, because it's not not saying it's not a kid place, but we haven't got something that can attract besides the beautiful beaches. They are amazing. I mean, that's where our history is. Our history is also in our storytelling. But for kids to visually get outside of Kempsey, it's really hard to get those atmospheres, because all we did for years and years is live for storybooks with the kids, showing them Sydney, showing them other places outside of Kempsey, because Paul, our family's couldn't afford those journeys and trips. But now you can see the empowering of our men. Personally, it's been one great journey, just seeing that pride walking in this community of our middle-aged men, our older men and our young men. The high school kids are starting to have a pathway to look forward to. They know there's more opportunities and journeys out there to look forward to. They can see the big production line that is coming into Kempsey. And I'd like to thank the gentleman that was up here before as well. Thank you for giving that opportunity to our community as well. And what more can I say? Because I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do this because I'm a very emotional person when it comes to our community here. But yeah, I'd just like to thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. And Tim, the great job that I recommend anyone that needs to do training, go to Tim and his team up at Ipswich. I've still got the turf here, but it's going to come washed off by next fortnight Wednesday, because it's going to be New South Wales all the way, the state of origin. It's not going to be, what do you call it? Coke Zero sponsored New South Wales and 7-Up sponsored Queensland. Nah, that's the end of it. And yeah, once again, I took a challenge personally that I did when I looked at that mine site. Yeah, I'm the one that never ever drove a manual. I was kind of more feared of driving a manual than the truck. But Tim gave me that time and took me out back driving actually before I actually got onto the site to drive it. And once again, I felt that great that I could drive it, the confidence and how Tim made me feel relaxed. And like my next car is going to be a manual, because I feel very confident now. And also looking at those trucks in the mine, my legs were going real jello. Same as most of my other two girls there. I'm just going, oh God. But my biggest challenge, I think, is when I went to Sydney, actually drove the heavy vehicle truck in Liverpool, and it was loads of traffic there, and I was going, oh my goodness, I hope I don't kill anyone here. And I said a big prayer and put all my faith into believing, because I tell you what, I had to believe in myself to achieve that. And I'd like to thank all the women and the men that went on from Kempsey and from other parts of all other nations throughout Australia too, because it's about time us Indigenous people showing the workplace, because we've never had the opportunity to get into these big companies. But as your statistics, it shows that we have a better success rate, and thank everyone, and especially funding and government people, look onto this, because this is such an important issue of covering the whole issue of Indigenous and respective, and as in reaching towards the little people of our community to give them direction as well. Thank you very much.
Now, you had Black Vin Diesel. You'll have to be, Elizabeth, what's her name? Taylor, that's it, young version. Yeah?
Yeah, that could be.
You've done good.
Thank you.
Get a manual car, because, automatics better, easier. Thank you for those presentations so far. Rob, are you ready to roll? Here we go. I'd like to introduce you to the Prime Minister of Kempsey, Mr. Rob Wright. My fellow Australians, come on.
I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Most of all, Brad and Wendy for giving me this opportunity to obtain a career. It's something I've always wanted to do. I'll first go back to after I finished high school. I didn't really have much opportunity to, at school we didn't really have much opportunities to see what we had going in this community. Everything else was based in cities, interstate, just everywhere else but here. I went and pursued university after school. I really didn't find that that's something I wanted to do, so I decided, might as well go out in the workforce and see where that takes me. I would work down in Sydney doing just office admin stuff. I came back home, and it wasn't until I heard that there's something for the mining industry. I'm like, oh, mining industry? What's that? Like, I can't picture myself over there. Well, pretty much after I was talking to a family member, he was telling me about how he got into it, and it pretty much just gave me a bright idea that I should actually go and pursue this. This is actually a better way for me to obtain the things that I've always wanted in life, to be able to get out and do something with myself. I went and approached Brad and Wendy, and yeah, they gave me the rundown on how to get into it, what I needed to do, what tickets I needed, all that stuff. I pretty much harassed them every week. I went to the office. Well, I got told that I needed to show my face there all the time, so I think I may have overdid it. Then they'd give me a job just to stop me from going in. As a member of the Monadelphous employment, it's been great. The company's been taking care of me. I first started up in Port Hedland, working at Finucane Island just as a TA for the riggers. It was a bit of an eye-opener. My first day there, I have never worked in so much heat and humidity in my life. I had all these thoughts going through my head, would it be all worth it? So, you know, with the awkward thoughts in the back of my mind, all of a sudden my first paycheck came, and I realised to myself, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is well worth it. And now I've been working for Monadelphous for, it's coming up to a year soon. It's been a pleasure to work with this mob. And as I was talking, as Rob said earlier, that I approached him and I asked him within my first 2 weeks of how to get somewhere. I've always been a person that's always wanted to know to take every opportunity I can. And I just want to say thanks, Brad and Wendy, for giving me that opportunity, and thanks for my family and friends for giving me the support, and thanks for everything.
I just think you just keep being you, because that's deadly, yeah? And I heard a whisper that you was a school captain and all, eh?
Maybe.
Yeah. I was like you, went to uni at 32. Don't discount university education, because it will open up some new doors for you as well in time, so don't discount that. Yeah, but well done.
Thanks.
Yep. Thanks, bro. Just before I get, we got a DVD titled Little Ones, is that right? It's a 4-minute DVD, and then we're going to go to Liz. In the interest of getting you fed, what we're going to do is sort out that technical hitch, and then at lunchtime have that play, if that's okay.
And I want to ask my little darling over there a question. I've got one little boy that's helped me film here. What's it been like since Dad's been in the mines? What have you told me some things that you got before. Can you tell me now what you got that Dad has bought you since he's been in the mines?
A DVD player.
Yeah?
And we went to Moree.
Oh yeah.
On the holidays.
That's great.
We went to the Gold Coast and motorbikes.
Wow.
Everything for your room and clothes. a new bed and new shoes and a new room.
So how does it feel when Dad's away at first for you?
Sad?
Yeah? Then what happens, like when he's been away for a little while? Do you start feeling a little bit better?
A little, yeah.
And what's it like when he does get home?
Happy?
Happy? And what do you do when he gets home?
Ride a motorbike.
Wow. And I bet he must be all excited to getting home to your new little sister too, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing too, Kai, I wanted to ask you, is that what I hear is that there's a great little support system in place, and also the part of how are you coping at home on your own as well, like?
Well, when Jeremy started, I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
For the 4th time with our beautiful daughter.
Yeah.
And I went through the whole pregnancy and, you know, pretty much raising her as well on my own while he's doing the working. And if I can do it, anyone else can.
Oh, fantastic.
It's not that bad.
Great.
I recommend it to anyone, and I recommend it to especially the young ones that don't have kids, that are young, and once you go over there, make new friends. I know Jeremy's made a lot of friends over there, and that makes me feel more comfortable as well, knowing that he's not alone.
Yeah.
Once you go over there and start working and having your own income, which is a lot of income, you'll love it.
And
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now, another thing you told me, he's actually got a new baby as well that he invested in. And what's that? And besides what he got for you as well?
Yes. When he first started, he went and bought himself a GTS, a VE GTS. He's always dreamed about having one of those cars, and yeah, that's his other baby. That's one of the main things he wanted to get as soon as he started in the mine, a new car, and because we were having another baby, he went and bought me a nice little 7-seater 4-wheel drive. So I'm happy, and if he wasn't in the mines, we wouldn't have any of those. We'd probably be struggling and getting loans from the banks and doing all that stuff, but we're able to be on top of everything now that he's in there.
And seeing another thing is too, how do you feel like with the boys too, mainly at this time, and the direction of life? Do you think it's a good role model by Jeremy being consistent in work and stuff like that as well? And you know, like what do you see in the future? What, like your feedback, what Jeremy is doing, what do you see the feedback coming to your children?
I think he's been a good role model, a good father figure, putting himself out there and working so far away from family, and his kids are really proud that they have a father. There's not many men out there, or women, that can go out there and work to support their family. And to see their dad doing that makes me proud as well. And a lot of his mum, his nan, and his family are proud of him as well. And he's always there to help them now. So yeah, everything's good. Only way is up from here.
That's great. Thanks for your time, Kai, and your beautiful little family, and thank you for making me feel welcome in your home.
That's okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, nearly finished. I'll just call Liz up shortly, but I think this is a remarkable story for Brad and for Wendy and for others around you that are part of the pathways to the Pilbara story. I think you should take the time to just sit down and have a think for yourself and be proud of what you've achieved in a very short space of time. I hinted at it earlier. I think that if companies want to actually see something that works and government want to see something that works that is truly closing the gap for genuine reasons, come and have a look at what you're doing. And that's a real credit to you. So for government and industry players who are interested, I'd seriously recommend they come and talk to you and have a look at what you're doing. I'd also like to congratulate Monadelphous for what you do, Rob, because they can't do what they do if you're not there at the other end as an employer, willing to take people on and showing the sensitivity and respect that you show. Also to Tim, what you do is a remarkable thing too, and to me it's not about black or white. This is about we as people coming together and giving Aboriginal people a fair go. And I say that for a reason, because we have a national anthem which talks about Advance Australia Fair. Now that was a thing that I was interested in. I wanted to know what the meaning of fair meant, so I did some research on it. It was written by a Scotsman in 1892, and at the time his fear was that he was concerned about the invading Chinese and the presence of Kanakas. So he penned this little hymn, Advance Australia Fair. It was then modified slightly and became our national anthem under the Hawke government in 1984. Now when you look at the definition of fair, there are three definitions of fair. Fair as in gala fair, fair as in skin, or fair as in justice. Now when we look as Australians, black and white, we need to actually ask ourselves what that word fair means. Because in 1892 Aboriginal people in this country were being slaughtered. So we weren't consulted or considered in the context of that hymn or that anthem. In 1967, after the referendum, that was only 17 years leading up to 84 when it was adopted by our Labor government as our national anthem. So don't suggest we change it, the song. We need to sit down and really openly, honestly accept what fairness or fair meant. And let's clarify what it means in the context of where we move forward as a nation of people. Advance Australia fairly would be a good thing, but fair in terms of justice. As Aboriginal people of Kempsey, that's your priority, is to continue to advance opportunities for you fairly, and Pathways is certainly doing that. As I introduce you to your lovely Mayor, Liz, sporting that nice blonde little hairdo today. Out you come, Liz. Looking very, well, easy for you. What's that famous Eurythmics? You catch one on pitching?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yesterday I had a look around your town, and as I said, no problems here. This is a beautiful place. One of the things that is most this country, 80% of international tourists say we want to see your Aboriginal people. We want to have an Aboriginal experience, an authentic Aboriginal experience. Can I a little subtle hint / prod? A Dungeti cultural keeping place where they can talk about art and promote the history, the stories that to Pathways yesterday, and I saw the most dead one element of the skill and the ability of local people to work with wood and timber. Art is another song. Dungeti people are your people, and that would be a really good thing to see in future, that you do have a Dungeti cultural keeping place. Before I hand this back to Liz to wrap it all up, I'd like to say humbly thank you very much to the elders, very much Wendy for the opportunity to come along and MC today. It was nothing really, it's good fun. And as I said at the outset, I was really keen to hear the stories, and I'm really grateful for the stories that people told. So thank you very much. But I now present you to your Eurythmics local mayor, Liz.
Thanks, Grant. And thank you, Uncle Bob, for the traditional welcome to country. And on the community's behalf, I acknowledge the Dungeti people, the original inhabitants of this ancient land, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present. I'm joined today by my fellow councillors, Councillor Anna Shields and Councillor Bruce Morris. To the visitors to the Valley, welcome to Kempsey. And I'd just like to say, before I start, that I am a lady from Kempsey. I went to Kempsey High, I went to East Kempsey School, I went to Kempsey TAFE. So I always considered myself as a Kempsey girl. But about 2 months ago, I was in conversation with a Dunghutti elder, and he said to me, Liz, where do you come from? And I thought, what's he out talking about? He knows I come from Kempsey. And I said, Kempsey? And he said, but you also come from Dunghutti country. And that was one of the nicest things that I heard that day, and I've kept that in my heart because I do come from Dunghutti country. So Wendy and Brad, Dominic, I think that we can see that pathways to the Pilbara have many dimensions. We've seen that today in the stories that we've heard. We've seen people with a vision, using their past experience in mining, training, recruitment, people that know the value of partnership and collaboration. We've seen that in spades today. They have successfully worked with the federal government, mining companies, training companies, local companies, to progress pathways to where it is today. And after having many conversations with Wendy over the years, I'm not at all surprised to see what we see today. And now we see people in work. We see Aboriginal people in work. People experiencing the value of work, the value of learning, the value of teams. And I would suggest, from what we've seen through the stories that we've heard today, people valuing their own self-worth. And that is so very, very important. The economic benefits that flow from money brought back into the community is significant, and we need to acknowledge that. But I would say, just as importantly, Pathways is a company developing people, and it is people that makes up our valley. So congratulations to Pathways, management, the staff trainees, the program graduates, the people that we've seen talk today. Thank you for your stories. On behalf of Kempsey Shire and the whole of the Macleay Valley community, I wish you every continued success for the future, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about Pathways to the Pilbara. Thank you.
So on that note, it is lunchtime, but before we have lunch, can I get Brad, Wendy to proceed to come forward, and your Pathways team, because I think you deserve a special. Don't be shy, come on. You're too young.
I've still got this on. I've got this on.
Okay, wrap it all up, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I think we can all give you a round of applause, and then we'll go to lunch. Thank you.
Local knowledge, rise up, rise up, down under, rise up,
All the Monres, all the Kores, all the Gores, can you hear me? All the Lungas, all the Mangas, all the Bama, can you hear us? All the Wongai, all the Yamatis, all the Maradis, can you handle these? To the Torres Strait, and the Palawa, to the Anigu, to the Yalangu.
I'm the souped up crew with the long brown dress, who be pounding out the rhymes and shaking my legs. I represent minorities, copping it hard, rattling my tongue with full disregard. When you hear this crew rattle, you'll say, which way? This brother too deadly, got a lot to say. He be smashing down barriers with his hardcore pumps, not caring who be listening, don't give a fuck. When you see me on the street, you can talk to me. I won't lift my nose if you're not stalking me. Jam it up, losing super talk to shite. That's how I've been brought up, full of might. Don't let me cool demeanor give me confidence. It's only got a money saving from my violence. This young black body who's standing tall, not backing down from no one, not
you hear me? All the Nungas, all the Nangas, all the Bama, can you hear us? All the Wonkai, all the Yamachis, all the Mardis, can you handle these? To the Torres Strait, and the Palawa, to the Anagu, to the Yalangu.
Come on, where you think I'm from? We'll take a look at this land, it's where I belong. Rapping anything I want, putting it in our songs. Cause this culture in my veins has got me feeling so strong. But I can walk on water, straight through a fence. When I slap on my ochre and begin to dance, you better shut your mouth, pay full respect, cause this is my time. What we represent, I ain't singing the blues, I'm just bringing the news. Talking Aboriginal issues the whole way through. Getting stuff off my chest, I don't need no rest. Cause us Abbo folk still know we the best. I show full respect to all my elders. Respect my talk, that's the thing that gels. You see, I'm passing out a message that's crystal clear. To all the young proud mob, don't show no fear.
All the Monterey's, all the Coolres, all the Coolres, can you hear me? All the Nungas, all the Nangas, all the Bama, can you hear us? All the Wongai, all the Yamachis, all the Mardis, can you handle these? To the Torres Strait, and the Palawa, to the Anagu, to the Yalangu. Black fella from the Cubby Cubby, say family roots on the island South Seas. You can track me down from my family trees. French and German you can add to these. Say I was black as school when I was not cool. Said the color of my skin made me a fool. I was in a rap when you thought it was crap. All good now, so you wanna be black. I don't really care if you're white or black, or any person discrimination act. If you're mean or fake or just plain slack, I'll wipe you off with a sweat on my crack. Step up to me and I will step back. Make some space when your brain goes crack. When I fight with my mind, your body is behind. I'm the first in line when it comes to be kind. All the Monterey's, all the Coolres, all the Coolres, can you hear me? All the Nungas, all the Nangas, all the Bama, can you hear us? All the Wongai, all the Yamachis, all the Mardis, can you handle these? To the Torres Strait, and the Palawa, to the Anagu, to the Yalangu.